We have all at some point in our lives had to disclose our NRIC details. But the truth of the matter is, not all scenarios warrant us to disclose this confidential information. So how do we know when it is within our rights to not share this information with, say, the security guard at a condo or the receptionist at a lost and found items counter? A guidebook for security officers on PDPA regulations related to the collection of NRIC and other national identification numbers was launched yesterday. They outline these scenarios. Now, to tell us more, I have journalist Charmaine Ng. Welcome, Charmaine.
Thanks.
Charmaine, I understand that this is your first time on The Big Story.
Yes.
A little nervous?
Yeah.
But don't worry. Simple. You know, we've already discussed this. So, Charmaine, maybe first of all, you know, if you could tell our viewers what constitutes personal data under the PDPA Act?
So under the Act, any data that can be used to identify a person would be considered personal data. I think most of us will be familiar with the Do Not Call registry where...
DNR.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Where you can opt out from receiving marketing calls or SMSs. So now they're moving towards NRIC numbers and national identification numbers. So from September 1st, it would be illegal for organizations to collect, use or disclose such identification numbers.
Right.
And that would include not just NRIC numbers, but also birth certificate numbers, FIN numbers or work permit numbers if you're a foreigner, and even passport numbers as well.
Okay. So these are the personal data. And of course, with the book, you know, what do the guidelines or the guidebook stipulate?
So the guidebook was actually launched by the Security Associations of Singapore, which oversees the private security industry. So like the guards at the condos, or you know, the ones that you see at the public buildings. So it basically spells out some common scenarios that these private security officers face in their daily work. Let's say if someone wants to collect, claim something that they lost at the lost and found counter, let's say at a shopping mall, what should they do in that instance? Should they collect the NRIC number of the person who is collecting the item? Or in this case, the guidebook suggests that, you know, it depends on the value of the item and whether it's of a very significant value. So if that is the case, then you may want to you know, take down like the partial NRIC number, verify the details by visually inspecting the person's IC. Or if it's not something of significant value, like if it's mundane,
not very
or not very expensive, then there's no reason for you to, there's no justification for collecting my NRIC number to.
And I suppose it's also not only for security officers, it's also for public people like us, right? To kind of like know what are your rights. If, say, for example, you've been asked, hey, can you provide me with your NRIC number? And then you can go like, no, you know, I don't need to do that, correct? So if let's say, so we talk about NRIC details, what are the alternatives then? Say, for example, instead of giving or collecting, or not, you know, from the perspective of the security guard, collecting NRIC details, what other alternatives can they collect in lieu of the NRIC details then?
So in some scenarios where it's not necessary to verify a person's identity with a high degree of certainty, then there are certain alternatives that the guidebook suggests, which is, for example, taking down the partial NRIC number, like the last few digits, and
with the letter,
at the end, or just a phone number, email address, or you know, maybe the registered postal code of the person.
What about the name? Full name is okay as well.
Name,
Okay. And you know, in the event, say, PDPA is breached, what are the consequences? So
organizations can be fined up to $1 million.
Oh wow!
And they can be asked to stop collecting personal data, asked to destroy the personal data, or allow access, make it more allow access to the personal data.
Right, right.
So there are several consequences depending on the severity
of the breach and so on and so forth. All right, once again, that wasn't so bad, Charmaine. Once again, thank you so much, Charmaine, for coming onto the show to share with us more on this new guidebook. Of course, for more stories on the PDPA and really, what constitutes personal data, under what circumstance can you reveal or not reveal your personal identification information, you can visit our website at www.straitstimes.com. Now, earlier on, we had senior education correspondent Sandra Devi to share with us the updates that MOE announced with regard to the new PSLE scoring system. And then, of course, we had Charmaine for the first time on The Big Story to share with us on the guidebook that was launched yesterday that stipulate regulations relating to the collection of NRIC details under the PDPA Act. So those are your stories for the day. For more news and videos, do log on to our website at www.straitstimes.com. Once again, I'm Haryanto. Join us same time tomorrow for more stories on The Big Story.